Chapter 11. Before the Flame. The morning broke sharp and clear, the kind of sky that seemed too blue to last. From her place at the kitchen table, Rose could hear the village beginning to stir differently than usual, more movement, more voices, more urgency beneath the surface of the ordinary. Richard was quiet as he packed provisions into a weathered leather satchel. Dried meat, oatcakes, flint, a small whetstone. He didn't explain, and she didn't ask not yet. But something in the air had shifted. "What's happening in town?" she asked as she followed him to the barn. He paused to loop a rope around the saddle he rarely used. "Tomorrow's a hunt," her brow furrowed. "For what?" He gave a noncommittal shrug. "It's just something the village does, twice a year. You're going?" He nodded. "We all go. Every household sends someone." There was something unfinished in the way he said it. Rose watched him check the edge of his blade, slightly curved, not ornamental, well used. It gleamed in the filtered morning light like it had stories he hadn't told. She didn't press him. All morning the town hummed. Banners were hung across rooftops, dyed fabric catching the breeze. Families cleaned tools, oiled saddles, sharpened blades. At the center of the square, a great pile of logs was being stacked for a bonfire. Everyone smiled, but there was something underneath it, anticipation, maybe, or tension disguised as tradition. Rose helped Marie hang bundles of dried herbs on the lintels and polish the front door. The harvest hunt, Marie called it, though she never said what exactly they hunted. Tomorrow's always a day for the brave. Tonight's for the rest of us. As the sun dipped low, lanterns were lit, and the villagers began to gather around the rising bonfire. The scent of roasted meat and sweet cider hung thick in the air. Music drifted out from the fiddlers near the baker's steps, and children ran in circles, faces streaked with ash and laughter. Richard found Rose standing at the edge of the firelight, her hair catching the glow, her hands tucked into her sleeves. "Dance with me?" he asked. She turned, startled. "I don't know the steps." "Doesn't matter." He held out his hand. "Just move when I move." They joined the circle slowly at first, feet unsure. But soon the music took hold, and the warmth of his hand anchored her. Around them, the villagers spun and laughed, their joy fierce and unashamed, like people who knew what the dawn would demand and chose celebration anyway. After a while, breathless and flushed, they stepped away from the crowd and found a quiet place beyond the firelight. The air was cooler here, the night breeze laced with wood smoke and the coming autumn. "I still don't know what you're hunting," Rose said softly. He didn't answer at first. "Then you'll find out soon enough." She frowned, but didn't push. Instead, she turned toward him, eyes searching his face in the half-dark. "Will it be dangerous?" He exhaled through his nose. "It always is." They stood in silence, close enough that her shoulder brushed his when the wind shifted. "I hate that I don't know what I'm afraid of," she admitted. He looked at her, steady and quiet. "You're not afraid of anything." "That's not true." "You're still here," he said. "That's more than most." For a while they said nothing. The fire behind them snapped and roared, laughter echoing out across the fields. A hush settled between them, one that wasn't uncomfortable, just full. Full of the weight of unsaid things. Then, carefully, Richard reached into his pocket and pulled out a small length of woven cord simple, strong, dyed with deep indigo. "If things were different," he said, "I'd ask you for more than just dances and shared dinners. I'd ask you to choose this life with me." Rose's breath caught. "But things aren't simple," he went on. "I don't know who you used to be, and you might still belong to someone else. I know that. I'd never ask you to pretend you don't." He held out the cord to her, palm open. "This isn't binding," he said. "Not yet. Just a question, waiting for an answer." "You don't have to give it now." "Not until I'm back." She looked at it, then up at him. "What if you don't come back?" "I will." And for the first time, she believed him without needing to know why. She reached out and took the cord, fingers brushing his. Then, in the hush of the woods just beyond the fire, she leaned in and rested her forehead against his. No kiss, not yet. But the shape of one lingered in the space between their breaths. And in that fragile pause before tomorrow's unknown, they stayed like that, two people caught in the gravity of something blooming slow and deep, daring to name it, even without all the pieces in place.